Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna be also dealing with another transformation. It's a DIY. We're gonna transform this dress into this little cute sexy little dress on the side, you see. So I'm gonna show you how I did that. I'm really super excited to share with you guys. And I want to give you a tip if you want to transform a cloth. Of course, buy a cloth you want to transform in a size extra large or large, so it gives you more room to work with. But with all that said, let's just go right into the video. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut off the back of the dress so it's easy for me to work with the dress when everything is separated. So right now that's the dress we have, and that's gonna work as our back or the back of our dress. And this is what we have now for the front. So I'm gonna get a dress that I know that fits me well, and I'm gonna use it somehow to help me trace out what I want to cut out and what I want to use. So go ahead and fold it into two, make it equal, and make sure that everything is in place. Get your pencil and sketch out that dress, but leaving some excess for just in case the dress is too small. Cut it out, and after cutting it out, of course, you're gonna use it to measure the other side. So just make a flip and measure off the other side of the dress too. That will make it easy. You can go in and trace it, or you can go in with a direct cutting. I decided to go in with a direct cutting. And of course, you can use some pins to hold the dress down so it doesn't disturb you as you cut. So that's what we have right now. We're gonna go on and use it now to measure or to cut off the dress we need from the back part, because it's also wide and big. So go on, just for the shape and cut out so we have two equal pieces of cloth. So now this is what we have. So right now I'm gonna go on and look for some fabric from all the clothes that I've cut off, because I need to put a waist in between here on the dress, and I'm trying now to gather some pieces from the hands of the shirt so I can create some belt. But before I do that, I'm gonna go on and measure my waist, and after measuring my waist, I know how much material I need. So when you measure your waist, make sure that you measure the smallest part of your waist. So I need like 27 inches for my waist, but I will need to take in like 29 inches just in case I need extra material. So I'm trying to gather as much material as I can. I'm gonna go on and cut off a small piece, and I'll do the same. So I want to measure and know how wide I want my waist. I already knew how wide I want my waist. That's like, so I wanted like 1.25 inches for my waist, and that's what I went ahead and measured off, just like you can see. Oh, sorry, that was 2 inches, not 1.25 inches. And then I went ahead and cut another piece from the second hand, because just like you know, I need enough inches for my waist. So right now we have 2 pieces of cloth for the waist, which we're gonna go on and put together, and then cut the edges to make sure that they are both straight. So we're just we're just trying to prove and see if the measurements are right, if we have the material we need, and that's all we are doing. So my waist has enough material, yeah. So that's for my waist. And so the other thing I'll do, I'll look for some material for the strings around my hands, just like you can see on the yellow dress, those strings. So I need to keep as much material as possible, but I'll do that of course later. For now, we go on with the dress. So I'm gonna measure my chest from just above my bra, or the point above my bra, up to like the lower part of my waist, and then I'll cut off from there, because I want to divide that dress into two and put a belt in between. So after measuring my waist, my chest to my waist, that's like 11 inches, and I have to cut off from 11 exactly, just like you can see there. So I went off and marked off where the 11 is, and then I had to draw a line. Of course, I can't just make a hand-free cut. Definitely I'll make it so wrong. So I went ahead and cut just below the 11. And I want to measure the other side. I'll just do our trick, the flip. So I'm gonna flip off the material to the other side so I can also cut it off. That makes it easy. That makes life easy. Oh my god. I love the flip parts where I don't have to measure. That's what we have right now. That's our top. We have our skirt and our belt. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna see the back, how it's gonna look like. At first I wanted my back to look like the front, but then I thought it would be so boring. I decided to make it like that, folded. So that means I'm gonna cut off that excess material later and make a folded back. That's like you will see how our dress will look like. And after all that, I'm gonna go under my sewing machine and make a straight stitch on both sides of my top, like there you see, and I'll be back. So that's what we have right now. It looks so cute after stitching both sides. So we're gonna go on also and work on the skirt and make sure that it also looks nice. But right now we're gonna measure off how long I want my skirt. That's up to you guys. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna measure the waist, how wide we want the waist, using the top we made already. I've already fit on the top and I know it fits really right, so I'm gonna use it to measure the waist. I'm not going to measure it again. So I'm gonna mark off where it starts and where it ends from the other side of the skirt, just like I'm doing right now. And I'll go on and prove if my hips can actually fit in that skirt, because I don't want to make something small. Afterwards, I'll go on my machine and make a stitch on both sides. So that's what we have right now, guys. The waist looks like it's small, but that's my waist, and the hips look like it's big, but I have a bigger bum, so it ended up with that shape. Okay, so we're gonna go on and cut off the lower part because we measured at a height and I want it to be the length that I wanted. So I'm gonna go on and measure off like 2 inches, and then I'll go in and mark where the inches are because I can't free cut. Afterwards, I'll cut that off, leaving in 1/4 inch for my seam allowance. So now we're gonna handle the belt. Lay both, just like you can see, lay both materials on top of each other. Make sure that they are straight. If you want, you can go in with a flat iron. It will make it easy for you. They will be completely straight, but I definitely I'm not one of the people who really want to do that. And what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go and make a straight stitch there. So that's what we made. We made a straight stitch and it looks so cute, but I didn't iron it. So you guys, I recommend you keep ironing. If it's gonna really disturb you, keep ironing those pieces. They will look better than mine, okay? So I'm just trying to flatten it. And after flattening it, of course, I'm gonna pull my shirt and pin it down together so it's attached to the top. So what I'm trying to do is to make sure that the lines where I stitched are connecting with the lines where I stitched my top, so it looks like it's one stitch straight line passing from the top to the belt, like you can see. And after making sure that that's in one right place where my finger is, I went ahead and then just go on and pin down the rest of the belt on the top, just like you can see. Take your time, don't rush. It needs patience. So I'm gonna go on and make a straight stitch from there to the other end. and I will be back. That's what we have. It looks really cool. It looks so cute. I like how it looks like so far. So don't worry about that. I'll do the serging later. I don't have a serger. I'll go in with a zigzag, but right now I'm concentrating on that waist. So I'm gonna go on and do the same thing, pin the waist to the skirt, and then we are good to go. So that's all I'm doing. Sorry guys, my battery died as I was pinning that place down, but just like you can see, I pinned already my skirt and connected it with the top. So I already did that, and I went ahead and pinned it properly at the edges of the skirt. And what else I did, I pinned the sides, so I make sure that the buttons are the same and those edges are equal, because I don't want to make any mistakes at the end and see that they are not equal or they can't close like in a straight line. So I went ahead and did that to both sides and made sure that both ends are equal before I pinned, of course, the waist. So sorry that I couldn't show you that because my battery died. So but right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go on and make a straight stitch on my skirt, and I'm gonna make sure that I make it along the edges because I don't want to lose a lot of material as I make the stitch. And that's what I'm gonna do right now. So that's the straight stitch we've made. It looks so cute. We are done making it, and that's how our dress looks like right now. So we're gonna go on and work on the belt. We try to finish it too. I need, of course, some extra pieces of material that looks like the belt itself. So I went on and fitted it on and cut exactly like the piece I need, or a little bit extra than the piece I needed. And then for the both sides, I'm gonna do the same. I cut the piece, of course, also for the other side of the button because I want it to all look like it's the same material. That's why I'm cutting those pieces that look like exactly the places I want to cover. So after cutting it, of course, the struggle started. It wasn't easy, I tell you guys. It wasn't really easy. It wasn't easy. I was struggling. Don't wonder if you see me struggling there, it means I was really struggling. But what I went ahead and did, I opened those threads because, of course, that was stitched. So I had to open only that end of the cloth so I can be easy to use it. So there I'm just cutting off the excess fabric from the cloth, so I have only what fits in that gap in between. So what I'm doing is just fitting those two pieces together, the edges of the cloth together, and then pin them down. And afterwards I flip it over, of course, and make sure that I put that material in between, which works as a belt. I put it in between the opening of the opening of that cloth that I made. That's why I needed to open the thread so that cloth is open, so I can push in the material I used as the waist on my dress. So I push it inside that and then pin the other end also, and I push it also inside. Sorry guys, it was really disturbing, just like you can see. It's really disturbing. If I sound like I'm struggling, it's because I'm really struggling, you know. So to make this clear, I'm putting the belt in between the cloth that I cut, and then after I flip it over and add it together with the edge of the dress and pin it down, if that makes sense. If my explanation really doesn't make sense, please excuse me and just watch what I'm doing, because I think what I'm doing explains itself better than even what I'm saying. What am I even saying? Okay, let's go on. Oh my god. So that's how it looks like. What I'm gonna do after that is, of course, oh my god, I swear to god that was a real hustle, guys. Trust me, that was a real hustle. Oh my goodness. So I was just going to make sure that everything is equal and in a straight line. That's why it was a very big hassle for me to do, because I had to make sure that all the lines are matching. And then I'll go on and make a straight stitch there so it looks all perfect. So go on and do the same with the other side of the fabric of the cloth too. So you add it on and put it inside, flip it over and clip it in. So let me not talk a lot and you watch, so it's somehow better to watch than my explanation for this part, because it was also a little complicated for me to do at first until I got how I could do it, something like that. So I'll go ahead and make a straight stitch there to connect to that line, and also make a straight stitch up there to connect, and afterwards I'll make another stitch that comes down to connect that line. So that's how it looks like. It doesn't look bad, guys, I think. And now I'm gonna go on and get those pieces of cloths I told you that I needed to gather to make the strips for my cloth, and that's what I'm gathering. So I'm gonna go on and prepare the pieces for that part of my dress, and also a piece for the side of the dress. But before that, I want to go to my sewing machine and make sure that I make a very long strand out of this thing. I want to make a very long string out of those clothes. I'm gonna pin them down, of course, and take them to my sewing machine so we can have one long string that we use. So that's how it looks like after I made it. Oh my goodness. I just made a mess. Did you guys notice it? Oh my god, I saw that on the other side. So I have to cut that off and do it again, of course. So right now we have our dress, and I'm gonna first work with the chest part. I'm going to first put the clothes for that part, and before we work on the other long string. So I'm gonna measure off what I need there, and that's what I'll remain with. So flip my dress over and pin this fabric together with the dress, just like that. It's something just simple. It's not too complicated, so don't complicate it, don't complicate it. So I'll go now to my sewing machine and make a straight stitch. But before I do that, I'm gonna also pin this other side like I did to the other side, and then we'll see how it goes. So right now I'm gonna stitch both sides and I'll be back. So both our sides are stitched, just like you can see. So we're gonna put lay it down and make the folds. I told you guys you can of course use a flat iron. It makes life so easy if you want to flatten these things. So make a double fold, and guys, fold it and cover that stitch, the initial stitch that we made when we were sewing that cloth on the dress. So you want to make sure that you make a double fold that covers the first stitch, because we only want one neat stitch on the top of the dress. So that's what I'm doing, and then go on and put in some pins so that whatever you're doing is kept in place. Both sides to be equal, like the folds. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on and make straight stitch along that side and also make a straight stitch along that side, and we'll be back. So that's how it looks like. That's the straight stitch we made. It really looks cute. It looks so cool. So we're gonna go on and cover up the rest of the top of that dress. Of course, we don't want to wear it like that. So first thing first, I'm gonna go on and use that same dress and measure how long I want my strings, but definitely my dress is stretchy, so I will automatically leave in some few inches, I think, when after measuring, because the jean dress is not stretchy. So if you're using a stretchy material to measure a non-stretchy material, always leaving extra inches, because you know it's not the same size. So I left in 2 inches and I made like 8 inches of my string, and then I marked where the 8 inches were. So after marking off my 8 inches, I went ahead and laid it down flat. But what I did is that black point where I marked, I put it directly on that sharp point that is supposed to be on the top of my chest, or where my bra would sit, like where that string is supposed to start from above my chest. That's where I laid it flat, and then I pinned it in place together with the dress. So I'm gonna go on and make the dress really flat and neatly laid down before, of course, I pin it, and I'll start pinning. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go on and pin everything. So that's what we have right now. I pinned it all. I'm gonna go on and stitch alongside the edges, and then I'll be back. So guys, we just finished making our straight stitch, and that's how it looks like. So we're gonna go on and flatten that cloth. Don't forget to use a flat iron if you want to make life easy for you to make those things straight. I normally skip it, but guys, you normally need it. So we're gonna go on and make those folds and make sure that it's a straight line, and then we pin them down like we did at the front of our cloth. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pin everything down, and then after pinning it all down, we're gonna see how it looks like. So that's how it all looks like, guys. We've pinned it from this side to the other side of the corner, and of course I left some space on that edge of the string, just in case I need to add any extra fabric in case my strings are short. So we're gonna sew from that start point to the other side, but before we go into the sewing, of course, we have one last thing to do, and that's to fold the lower part, and also we pin it down. So we're gonna do a double fold on the lower part of our dress. The size depends on you. It's a preference on how big you want your fold. So that's what I'm gonna also do, and just like you can see, it's all folded and it all looks neatly folded and very equally folded, so you make sure that it's very even. So we're gonna make a straight stitch on the front part and also on our lower part. So after stitching the lower and the upper side of our dress, we're gonna now go on with the strings. And guys, like you can see, our dress is almost ready. So lay your dress flat, and then we work with the strings, ones we left on as we were making that cover up around the edges. So go ahead and fold the string just like you can see in the photo. If you want, you can also use a machine to stitch it before you stitch it on the dress, but I just went in and folded it and then pinned it down. But before I pinned it, of course, I made sure that it's straight from up to that end where I pinned it. You can use any sort of pin you have to put that in place. We're gonna go on and pin down the next string, but before we pin it down, we have to measure and see if both the strings are equal. So that's what I'm doing right now. So after cutting off that excess, of course, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing, fold the front and pin it down in place. So like you can see, after pinning it down, I have to prove that the measurements are really accurate before I stitch it, so I don't make any mistakes. And right now I'm gonna go make short stitches there, and another short stitch there, and our dress is good to go.